All right, chat. So over the past couple of days, having some dialogue about Hallie, Brunson, and Shea, all the star guards in the NBA. And for whatever reason, people just have a hard time being proper with their assessment with players. Ant is supposed to be the next MJ, and now all of a sudden, Hallie is not only getting thrusted into superstar conversations, but he got to be the next Magic Johnson and John Stockton. It's actually ridiculous. Oh, boy. But winning bias does you win. However, before we get to actually that, it started off a few days ago when they were having a conversation about Brunson and Hallie being a superstar, and one of the Morris twins and Stephen A. Smith had this to say.
Are Hallie and Brunson already NBA superstars?
Huh.
No.
Okay, yeah,
Brunson
go, SA.
is. Brunson is. Not Haliburton. He's not there yet. He is not overrated. Haliburton is not overrated. He can play, and he can close, and I give him mad credit for that. But he's not a superstar. When you consider the undersized Brunson, the load that he carries, because the New York Knicks, offensively, we've seen them do some good things, but one would argue when you consider the offensive efficiency of the Indiana Pacers and the multitude of bodies that they have, the depth that they have, Haliburton isn't asked to do as much to carry their offense as Jalen Brunson does for the New York Knicks. And to have that load on the biggest stage and to answer the call the way that he has, averaging 36 a game after losses in the postseason, doing what he has done for the New York Knicks since he has arrived. I don't know if you know this, Monica or Marcus, but did y'all know that in the 3 years Jalen Brunson has been in New York City, do you know he is the leading scorer in the postseason, averaging 30 a game over these 3 years? Yeah. This is who he is. So, and to be the clutch player of the year, to be a closer, he is clearly a superstar in this game. And I have to say that because, damn it, I didn't think that he was worthy of being drafted.
I remember that.
You understand? That's right. He reminds me every time he sees me, Monica. Every time he sees me, he reminds me. It's all love. He's got me.
He didn't think he was supposed to be drafted? Jesus. Boy, oh boy, that's a crazy take, boy.
He's right, because I was like, I thought he could be in the NBA, but I was like, I didn't see him as a draft pick. And the first round that I was talking about, he tried to say draft pick. I was talking about first round, but nevertheless, he deserves it. He has earned it. The brother is special. There's no doubt about it. Haliburton makes noise and deserves our respect, but he's not a superstar.
So shout out to our producer, Kwaku, because I was really agonizing over this one. I agree with you, SA, but I wanted to be fair in terms of accomplishments, right? Jalen Brunson was...
Quick sidebar. SA is a f***ing nut nickname. SA is crazy. Call me Steven. Just call me Steven. SA is a crazy nickname. Just call me Steven.
Second team All-NBA. Hallie was third team last year. I acknowledge, and this is true, and this just may be how it goes in terms of playing for a marquee franchise in the NBA in the world's biggest city. He definitely is experiencing the New York boost, right? There's a global appeal. Both of these guys have been involved with Team USA. I'm inclined to agree with you, but I don't think that the gap is particularly wide. Tyreese Haliburton is absolutely on his way, but I also think when we talk about superstars, and Molly and I were talking about this in the commercial break, the names you rattle off have been in the league for 10 plus years already. Tyreese Haliburton was drafted in 2020. Jalen Brunson was drafted in 2018. I think he still has time to sort of earn that label. And obviously, Jalen Brunson has plenty of room to continue to add to what is a budding superstar legacy.
To me,
Okay, so before and Molly does a really good, okay, I'm happy she brought to bring this up. Just for people who don't know, I don't really care too much about this label of superstar because everybody has their own definition of it. But in my opinion, a superstar isn't how marketable you are. I don't really care that much about the marketability. I know a lot of people talk about the marketability, but I don't care that much about the marketability. I am solely talking about how impactful you are as a player. And I personally believe that the word superstar gets thrown around way too loosely. You can be a really great player, have some impact as well, but not a superstar caliber player. I think there's only 6 or 7 of those players in the league right now. Luka, Jokic, Giannis, Shea, depending on who's healthy and who's not healthy, Bron, Curry, Embiid is healthy, I would say he is. And then I think Wemby is budding to that point as well. But to be fair, I think Tatum is close to that as well. I think to be fair, Tatum is close to that as well. But this idea that, like, y'all throwing names, I don't think AD's a superstar. Jaylen Brown, hell no. Harden, not anymore. KD, not anymore. Devin Booker, no. I don't think Ant is. I think Ant is getting close to being a superstar. I don't think he's a superstar. No, I just don't. I don't think those. Kawhi, I guess when he's healthy, but Kawhi and Embiid are just so they're not healthy enough for their names to really constantly be thrown up there. But if you want to say Kawhi, Kyrie, no. Kyrie, heavens, no. Paolo, no. Okay, nigga said Julius Randle. You got it.
Superstar's household name. Like, if we went out on the street and asked 10 people, you need to know who the players are.
Yeah.
Okay, to that end, I would also say commercials. Right.
I disagree because I think there probably was a point in time where people weren't familiar with Tim Duncan as much, and I think Tim Duncan was a superstar.
I was about to say
I don't know,
commercials.
Stephen A. I don't know.
Yeah.
If you went out in the middle of the street and I said, "Who's the star of the Indiana Pacers?" You're sure 10 out of 10 are gonna know.
I think
Let me call my mama. She's the test.
I think that a lot of people, even if it's due to the questions, I think that Haliburton has become a household name. But Jalen Brunson being on this stage, because of what Monica alluded to, is definitely a household name. The difference is he's backed it up repeatedly. We've seen Haliburton show up in the fourth quarter and explode with some closing moments, but up to that point had about 7 or 8 points.
Absolutely.
That's not what we see from Jalen Brunson.
I'm with you, Stephen A., but I'm talking about, like, casual fans. To me, casual fans know Steph Curry. They know LeBron James.
Well, they know Jalen Brunson.
Yeah. But to your point, Stephen A., Jalen.
I understand what Molly's saying too. Like, I don't like. If they know Jalen Brunson, it's because of just recently and obviously him being in a big market like the Knicks. But again, I think, bro, it's like 8 of them, bro. It's like 8 of them, bro. It's like 8. It's not that many.
Then Brunson because he's playing in New York.
Yeah.
He's playing on that same stage, which is a great thing, and it's a lot more pressure. So I have to say he's a superstar because I played in New York. It's a ton of pressure, and to be doing what he's done and the stats that you read off in 3 years, that's very impressive.
Yeah.
So I'm giving him the push as he is a superstar. To me, let me get this point out. To me, Haliburton is a superstar too.
Okay.
I think it's a different dynamic, bro. I think it's a different dynamic of what superstars of what superstars are, right? Like if you take him out of that market, just like you take JB out of that market, are we having the same conversation? Are we having the same conversation? Because he's been.
That's actually a really good point. Y'all think that Jalen Brunson would still be a superstar or known that much if he wasn't in New York? And I agree. I think the answer is no. I think the market does a lot for him. And to fairs is fairs. But I agree. If Jalen Brunson was not playing for the Knicks, no one would care for him. Curry could be playing wherever. People know who Curry is. LeBron obviously could be playing whatever. People know who LeBron is. When KD was playing at his apex, he literally started his career in a small market. People would know who he is. I don't think people really would keep up with Brunson if he wasn't playing for the Knicks. I just don't. I don't think that. I just don't. If that is how you define a superstar, I personally don't care. So this was an ongoing conversation. They got pressed a lot over the past couple of days. Jay Will yesterday decided to hop in the conversation about if Haliburton is a superstar. And boy, oh boy, he has some takes. That's your bar. Fair enough. I agree, though. And we've all said this several times. The NBA has done a terrible job embracing their new stars in a general sense. Super or not, the NBA has done a terrible job embracing their new stars. It shouldn't be just people like me trying to tell you all trading for Haliburton for Sabonis was a bad idea. I shouldn't be the only group. Independent media members should not be the ones telling people that. Everyone should have known who Hallie was going to be. To be fair, some of the things he's been doing in these playoffs, even I didn't think he was going to be this good. But I wholeheartedly agree. There's a lot of things that Hallie does doesn't show up on the box score. To be fair, I think that's a lot. This is where I'm going to stop and say this. I agree with everything that he said there. I think if you need another year of proof of Hallie before you jump out the window and start labeling him a superstar, I am okay with that because I think a lot of people were a bit skeptic on who Hallie was, especially depending on how you viewed who he was towards the tail end of last year and this season, even though I tried to tell a few people, including Jeff Teague, that a huge reason why he slowed down had way more to do with his hamstring injury, not the fact that people figured him out. But if you need another year, I think that's fair. However, The reason why I'm not going to sit here and let Stephen A get that off is because, brother, you've been trying to jump the gun with Anthony Edwards for the last 2.5 years now. You're throwing Anthony Edwards in Michael Jordan conversations. That's what you're doing. So the problem isn't that I have no problem with being conservative. I'm okay with not throwing around that label, but you jumped the gun with Anthony Edwards just like that, and that's the problem. Is that y'all jumped out the window for so many other players, and every single time they do not meet whatever expectations that you set up for them. And that, in all honesty, has been the problem with the NBA mediosphere for the last 7-10 years now. That's really been the problem. Every player y'all pick has not been able to live up to expectations. Lonzo Ball, Andrew Wiggins, Jabari Parker, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons. All these players have never been able to live up to said expectations, and instead of just moving on from one player to the next, you hang on for dear life. You do that with Zion, y'all still doing that with Ja, and right now you're doing it with Ant. To be fair to Ant, he seems as if like he has the ability to live up to said potential. But I don't know what you want. Yeah, I just feel like, bro, I have no problem with being conservative, but you're never conservative with your takes. You're never conservative with your takes. So if it makes it uncomfortable for you to hear somebody jump Hallie into superstar conversations, then you know how people feel when you put Ant and Kobe and Jordan convos, nigga. So the same way you telling us to wait on Hallie, just wait on Ant. And while you're waiting on Ant, how about you do the same shit that you doing for Ant for the niggas who actually winning? Do it for them. Do it for them. Why don't you put Shea in them convos? Chat, this is the first year it took them to finally put Jokic in like all-time great convos with censors. This season, the nigga had to average a 30-point triple-double. This season. Them niggas allow Giannis to just go out there, break records, do whatever, don't acknowledge none of that shit. But you jumping the gun with someone who can't get out the conference finals. So just, bro, I get it. You want to be conservative with Hallie? Cool, have at it. But my nigga, you're not conservative with Ant. And that's why people... He's cooking. He's cooking. He is cooking. I agree. Because if Hallie, first of all, if he played for the Lakers, absolutely, nigga. Nigga, the ratings would have been through the roof. If Hallie did that shit that he did, oh man, ratings would have, oh my word. Oh man, y'all niggas know. We turned Alex Caruso into a household name. What you think we gonna do with this nigga? Y'all niggas knew who THT was. Y'all knew who Kuzma was. Man, he played for us, nigga. You know what's happening, dog. You know what's happening. Y'all niggas know who Austin Reeves is. But he is right, though. We ended the season talking more about Austin Reeves and Hallie. And I'll be the first to say I'm also wrong at that as well. Because I should have made a video talking about the resurgence of not only Hallie, but the Indiana Pacers towards the tail end of the year. Because I did talk about how bad they were in the early parts of the year, especially Hallie. So I'll take part in blaming that as well. But I agree with him. If he was playing in LA, if he was playing in New York, we would without a doubt talk about him. Or make more videos. Yeah, I probably should just make more videos. Is the whole I'm gonna set parameters around what it means to be a superstar, knowing that one of those boxes are about to get checked this year. So now if he's going to play in the finals, so that's going to get checked. Then the next box of if he's going to be 55, 60 win team next year, now that's checked. So now all of a sudden, if his team wins 55 games next year, and now this year he's going to play in the finals, all of a sudden becomes a superstar? No, he's just not that good. That's it. Y'all set these weird parameters. I don't know why y'all do that. He doesn't have to go into the finals to be a superstar. That makes no sense at all. LeBron was a superstar before he got to the finals. What are we doing? That is literally Hallie. That's Hallie. The reason why you're not calling him that is because he doesn't score 25, 30 points, but they game plan around him. The main point of what they do is to stop him from getting downhill and shifting the defense to allow everybody else to get open looks. That's literally him. Kodak Ice says, I hate these convos sometimes because Hallie deserves praise for how he's playing this postseason, but if they start calling him a superstar and he gets clamped by OKC, then are they going to flip the conversation on its head and not give OKC their credit? They're literally doing that right now with Ant. And that is true. That is true. That's true. That's literally.
Pacers.
I'm telling you that Tyreese Haliburton is right now. That was not the case. That was not the case throughout the season.
Okay, I'm just asking you to answer the question, yes or no.
Who the fuck was the face of the Pacers then, nigga? Who? Who else could it have been? Not fucking. Shut up. Shut up. Our niggas don't even believe that shit. Niggas said Obi Toppin. You got it. It's not Siakam, nigga. It was TJ McConnell. All right, y'all niggas is trolling. Bro, Hallie has been the face of that organization for the last.
Jay,
It's not Haliburton. Even hypothetically speaking, because I'm not going to act like Siakam, there aren't nights to where he's certainly more part of the offense than he is normally. That's fair. But normally, it is Hallie. Normally, it's Hallie. Right now, we're doing points per game preference right now, where if you average enough points, then all of a sudden, that means that you're not the one that we had to stop because you really only average 15 points per game. No. Also, quick sidebar, for a lot of people who want to know the impact of Steve Nash and how someone can only average 15 points and win league MVP, what y'all seeing right now from Hallie is very similar to what that was. Taking into consideration back then, like, it was much easier, like, it was way more impactful for when Nash was mismatch hunting, it was way more impactful, like way more impactful. Yeah, CP3 is another one. CP3 didn't average 25 plus points per game. CP3 has several years where he's averaging 20 or 19, 18 points, and he was still the first option to stop. Still. Jason Kidd is a perfect example. Oh my goodness. Please. Oh man, Jay Will. I wonder if he's going to ask.
Go ahead.
So now, here we go again. Now, to be fair, I agree with what he's saying. But these weren't things in which you were outlining before. So all you're doing is you keep trying to move the parameters around to make sure he doesn't fit in. And you want to make sure, look how long into the video we've gotten before he start all of a sudden bringing up, second team all defense, all NBA. Look how long we had to get into the video before he started bringing it up. And you can hear him he had to go look on his phone to make sure Hallie do what I'm about to say he did before he actually starts saying it, because he wanted to make sure that I need to make up a fucking reasoning to why I can't put him in a conversation. Again, I have no problem with him not being in there, but just be consistent. And again, if these are the standards, if this is the goalpost you need to have before you start having Hallie conversations, then stop putting this nigga Ant and Kobe and Jordan convos, nigga. Stop doing it. Because I know for a fact what one was doing by the age of 23 and the other one wasn't. 23 Jordan, fifth year Jordan already MVP and DPOY, led the league in scoring twice by averaging 37 and 35. Going down the points per game and acting as if like that's an accurate representation of who Hallie is, when we all know that in the first half of the season, Hallie was struggling in large part because he was still trying to come back from that injury, his hamstring injury. We know that. In the second half of the season, just like the 2 years prior, he was averaging 20. Now, again, in between those games, sure, he's going to have a game where he's putting up 9. Another game where he's putting up, the time when I was slandering Hallie, he's going to have a game where he puts up 9. He's going to put up 7. He even had a goose egg in this stretch of 41 games. But it still averaged out to 20. It's an average. And respects to Curry, this year, I know I can go to some games from Curry when that nigga was averaging, or he put up a game where he only recorded less than 10 points.
Hey.
I'm just saying. Not too much.
Look
right?
at that Rockets game specifically, though.
Not too much, right? Not too much, right? Not too much. Not too much, right? Not too much. Yeah, LeBron had a couple of games where he was barely dragging his feet across the 10-point mark. Like,
Daryl said LeBron, like he don't slander LeBron too. Come on now. I know this nigga better than that.
I just want to just highlight that. Is he going to sit here and say the magic words? It was 90 people who even voted on that, and of the 90 people, only like 25 of them voted for Hallie, so it wasn't that. However, I don't know. I mean, y'all see me talk to Teague about it, and I feel like his sentiments were very similar. Long story short, I don't think Hallie's a superstar. And I just don't think that. However, if you're willing to jump the gun with Ant and Michael Jordan comps, then I have no idea why you wouldn't be open to the idea of Hallie being called a superstar. And I want to be clear with this as well. that is a part of the dialogue, as ignorant as it is, to find the new face of the league, right? Where you need to jump the gun. So as Stephen A. Smith, as you jump the gun with Anthony Edwards in face of the league convos, when you jump the gun with Anthony Edwards being compared to Jordan and Kobe, when you jump the gun with Anthony Edwards, I don't know why you don't see the correlation of how people may be jumping the gun with Haliburton. And if they're proven wrong, I guess that's fine, because you've been proven wrong not once, but now 2 years in a row, twice. So let's if we're going to be conservative with the superstar labeling, which is fine, that's fine. But that also means you need to be conservative with everything else. And like I keep saying, if that's the case, if these are all these parameters that you all decide to put next to people, the question from Jay Will should have been, so is SGA a superstar? I guess SGA is now the face of the league. You keep searching for it when it's right in front of you. But, oh, that's right. Stephen A. Smith did tell us you can't be the face of the league if you weren't born in America. Not gonna lie, that was, genuinely speaking, one of the worst takes. Hold on, what's this? Hold on. You got something juicy for me? Hold on.
What does the series mean for him?
Pause. Whoa. That sounded crazy. Hold on. Let's see this.
What does the series mean for him?
I call him Mini Mamba, and I'm not the only one. Devin Booker reminds me a lot of a little Kobe. He's not as big as Kobe, not as athletic as Kobe, can't create like Kobe, but his footwork, his fearlessness, his ability to score from anywhere at times where it looks like he doesn't have a shot, that reminds me a lot of Kobe, and it did heading into this series. Let's not forget, I'll bring it up every time, because Chris Paul gets a lot of credit.
You know what's so crazy? Devin Booker's his game much more resembles Ray Allen than it does Kobe. I just want y'all to know that. And I don't know why it's like a negative thing to acknowledge that. Yes, for those who, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Ray Allen that y'all talk about is the nigga that was in Boston. If you go back and watch Milwaukee Ray Allen, where he could also, to be fair, I think obviously Devin Booker, because of the times in today, he takes it off the dribble way more. But the off-ball movement, the Iverson cuts, the pin downs, all that shit is very similar. That's much closer to Ray Allen in Milwaukee than it was to Kobe. But, you know, it is what it is. However, I know for a fact.
Superstar. For a winning team, best player. Thinking about
This dude, I believe he's a bona fide superstar right now. This is his first playoff series, Max.
Oh my God! What?
After one playoff series, he jumped off the cliff.
After one series, nigga? Hallie is going to the finals and you're still biting your tongue. After one series? This is what I'm talking about? And there's a nigga in the chat that's pissing me off because you don't think I see you. But every single time I say the word parameters, this nigga's like, parameter count 6. Ass nigga, I see you, dumb nigga. There you go, right there. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I see you, nigga. But regardless, this is what happens when you set the parameters around these dumbass arguments, and then we can just go back and see that you weren't consistent back then. You're telling me all of a sudden, I don't know. Is Holly really? I don't know, dog. I don't know. He really jumping out the fucking window. In this video, not only you call him a superstar, but y'all calling him Kobe. It's not about what you want to do. If we're going to be honest, it's two things. The first is that they're foreign, so you don't want to give it to them. And the second is because you didn't want to recognize it when it was happening, and you're so fucking in denial, you gotta sit there, be stubborn. It's Ant. Ant need to step up. No, nigga, Shay's there. So then, when it don't happen, I don't know about this. I don't know. Is he really a superstar? He's only really been in, he never really made the finals. No All-NBA first team. I don't know. Devin Booker, his first playoff series. He's agreeing to call him Kobe, and he's a superstar. You niggas make me sick. And you know what I'm about to do? This nigga Devin Booker better have made second team that year. Actually, it doesn't even matter because they didn't even announce it. Because if that was the first round, that's the first round. So they didn't even announce it until later on. He didn't even know. He made first team. Okay. No. This was 2021, no?
Yeah.
Am I stupid? Hold on.
Yeah, 2021 they played the Lakers.
2021. So you're telling me Stephen A. Smith, this nigga didn't even have to make an all-NBA team. He just made all-stars and had one playoff series, and you was calling this nigga a superstar. But now, if Hallie can go to three series, make a game winner in every single last series, make crazy comebacks in every series, back-to-back Eastern Conference, make all-NBA teams, he's not a superstar? Again, if you ask me, neither one of them niggas are superstars. But this is the problem when you jump out the gate. And like I keep telling you, they keep finding the wrong ones. And instead of just moving on and admitting you're wrong, they're going to sit there. Zion's next up. Ja, we're going to wait on Ja till he learns his lesson and clean up his act. They're the next one up. While OKC out there, back-to-back #1 seeds, this year 68, and you niggas still can't talk about Shea in the same light. But this nigga Devin Booker, 2 all-star games, and then he be very mindful, chat. Remember what Devin Booker teams look like. 34 and 39, 19 wins, 21 wins, 24 wins. That was what that's what Devin Booker was doing. That nigga played 6 games in the playoffs? He got done with a 6-game series. Superstar. Nigga, stop it. Let's hear more about it.
Obviously, he hasn't enjoyed the playoff life until this season. And we see the kind of show that he's put on. I thought the question about his superstar status.
God damn, bro. I was glistening. My forehead was glistening, chat. I was sweating like shit. That's when you know Waleed is in the house. This nigga turned up the heat. God damn.
Would be answered come playoff time because that's when you make a name for yourself. And he has shown that what you've seen in terms of him being a career 23-point per game scorer on 45% shooting from the field, 35% from three-point range. This dude has averaged at least 22 points a game over the last 5 seasons as the #1 scoring option for the Phoenix Suns. So you're waiting for the playoffs to arrive to see what you're going to get from him. Is it going to be a different Devin Booker? Is he going to be somebody that takes a step back and wilts beneath the pressure? Or will he rise to the occasion? And sure enough, he most certainly did. And in Kobe's house, the Staples Center, to close out the Los Angeles Lakers, he dropped 47. And then what does he do? He talks about the bright lights. He talks about seeing that number 8 and number 24 jersey hanging in the rafters. He, not one of the Lakers, but him, talked about what an inspiration it was for him to be playing in that building and doing the kind of things that he was doing. When you are a guy that's #1, and then finally the stage is set, and you answer the call, that's when it comes down to it. Sometimes it's when you first arrive in the playoffs, Max. Other times is you could have been in the playoffs before, but it's different. Michael Jordan in the 80s dropped 63 at Boston.
So at the end of the day, I just want, we're done. I mean, he's doing it. He called him a superstar, and then he's trying to go around it a bunch too. We got something else. It's gonna be a last one.
NBA playoffs. JJ Redick kept the same.
So now we know he also
5 players on the court for the entire second half of Game 4 on Sunday. Anthony Edwards said he knew LA would be vulnerable to his late game attack. Minnesota erased a 10-point fourth-quarter deficit to win 116-113, go up 3-1 in its first-round series. Lakers legend Magic Johnson shared his thoughts on Sunday's loss.
Yeah. He's calling him a superstar, but I think he'd been calling him a superstar before this, so he called him a superstar. Yo, we really need to get Jay Will this clip. Get Jay Will this clip. Because, like, this is what I'm talking about, bro. Yeah, you sit here and you call so many people superstar, you throw that label around a lot, bro. Where's Twins, bro? They've been on a spectacular, terrible take run. Because apparently, Trae Young is not even a passing point guard.
You heard Haliburton talk about the pace of the pace. Well, you could push the pace.
Hold on. Let me take it a step further since you did bring up receipts, because it's very, very important receipts. Those brothers right there in studio with Molly Haliburton superstar. Remember when they were saying that yesterday? So in other words, picking him, having him picked up 90. Yes, they did. 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 Haliburton being a superstar, right? I'm like, yo, he's a damn good player. He's not overrated. The brother can ball again, but he ain't a superstar.
Yeah. Stephen A., we didn't tell the whole story.
94 feet.
Superstar,
It could be important. What's up?
Stephen A., we didn't give the full context. We didn't tell the whole story.
A little bit out of there right there.
It wasn't just superstar. It was young superstar. So we wouldn't putting him with like the LeBron.
So were they running laps on Hallie not being a superstar because he played bad in the series? Let me see. Should Knicks use the same starting lineup from Game 3? So this is like heading into. I think this is heading into Game 4. So Game 3. Hallie he had 20 points. I don't know. I don't know.
And the Stephs and the KDs. We were just talking about the young guns.
My bad.
Right.
Molly, I want to ask the Twins something.
Sure.
I want to ask the Twins something because I already asked you this, and I was guilty of this. I think we're throwing around the word superstar too loosely.
Yes, I do.
Like we're anointing guys as being superstars that are really not superstars, right? Like, yes, we know Bron and Steph, they're mega stars. It's the difference, right? And then we can start looking at everybody else. Anthony Edwards, right? Own signature shoe commercials, putting up big numbers, winning games. I think when we start to think about guys that are superstars, we have to start really thinking about that before we just anoint them as quote-unquote being a superstar. And I'm saying that for myself as well. But I don't believe Tyreese Haliburton is a superstar.
Got him up. Well, older brother. Hey, I think that obviously you have your older players, your superstar, but it's just the era that we in. Like, who is a superstar? Who is a young superstar? Who can you anoint that? These are the players that we have in the league that we have to all-star superstar. I mean, obviously they're not on the level of LeBron and the Lucas and those guys, but they fall right under when you talk about young superstars, the young Ant-Mans, the SGAs. Those are the young superstars that's up and coming league, and I think Haliburton falls in that category. I just think we see him differently.
We got to define what the superstar is. That's the biggest thing.
We just so used to seeing superstar is athletic, in a bigger market. Like what Haliburton is doing is similar to what Chris Paul's doing. Like we said, Chris Paul was a superstar, right? Chris Paul was the ultimate general. And that what made him the superstar. He made guys better. He's won games. That's what made him a superstar, right? Like he wasn't the most athletic. He made big shots down the clutch. It's kind of walking in that same path of a guy that can move the ball, that can make players better.
Hold on. Marcus. Here's the deal, man. Do you realize that when you bring up CP3, you're talking about a top 6, top 7 point guard in history? Do you realize?
I do, but we haven't had any other CP3s.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about somebody that's been nicknamed a point guard, for crying out loud. Not a point guard, but a point guard, okay? All right, a floor general extraordinaire. Wherever he goes, you make your team better. I mean, of all the great point guards in NBA history, we're talking about this dude, top 6, top 7, arguably in the top 5. The Gary Paytons, the Isaiah Thomases, the Jason Kidds of the world, the Irvin Magic Johnsons, the John Stockmans of the world. People like that. That's what you're talking about. You're not talking about that with.
Yeah, but you're saying that after, and I agree with everything they're saying, but these are things that you're saying after a collective of his career has come and gone. So in real time, when Chris Paul was in his whatever year Hallie's in right now, you weren't calling him a top 6 point guard. You're looking after he's concluded his 15+ year career. You know what I'm saying? That is also true. You jumped out the window and you compared D-Book to Kobe. So, yeah. Stephen
Ant to Jordan.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you. Stephen ain't gonna lie, bro. You do, yeah. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Yeah, you can't really be upset when people compare someone else to somebody. Like, you just can't, because you decide to compare Ant to Jordan and Kobe to Devin Booker. And you did that with Kobe to D-Book or D-Book to Kobe after one playoff series. That's what you decided to do. So, yeah. It's true. That's true.
But somebody like Haliburton, certainly not yet. So I'm just saying to you, the brother can ball. The brother can ball, no doubt about it. But when you talk, let me answer the question about the superstar. How about you being the #1 option?
I was just about to say.
And everybody in your face and game planning around you every day. And every day, for the most part, you answer the call.
Last 3 years.
How about that?
Last 3 years, Haliburton, besides this year when they was better and he came off the ball, last 3 years he's averaging 20 and 10. What is that? Last year he was in the Eastern Conference Finals. You said who? James Harden. So was James. But the numbers say it. The way his trajectory.
James Harden's a superstar. What?
His career is going is CP3-esque. Like if we're talking about if he stay on this same line and continue to get better, he's going to be in that same category as one of the best point guards that ever played a game. Because we don't that position is starting to be extinct. We don't really even have point guards right now. Like we don't have guys that can make the entire team better. We don't hear about no Aaron Naismith if it's not for Tyrese Haliburton. We don't hear about Nembhard if it's not for Tyrese Haliburton. Like he make the entire team go.
So when a brother pulling up from 25, that's because of Haliburton?
Yeah, one time. The confidence that he's it's the confidence he instills. You talking about 1 or 2 possessions. This is the confidence that he instills in the players. You can't have that system if there's no Tyreese Haliburton. There's no Indiana Pacers getting to the semifinals back-to-back years without a guy that's playing like he plays.
He called it a semifinals? I ain't never heard that before.
He makes the entire team go. He makes the entire team go.
Kirk, you give the final word, and then we and the commercial break need to all get on the same page of what the definition of a superstar is.
I got you on this, but let me ask you this. So we just got on Anthony Edwards, okay, for not being aggressive. And Anthony Edwards he's labeled a shooting guard, but Anthony Edwards has been the primary ball handler for this Minnesota Timberwolves team this year. One could say he's actually been the point guard. So the growth in him has to be the decision maker, the same as a Tyreese Haliburton. But again, we don't hold Tyreese Haliburton to the same standards that we hold Anthony Edwards to. You know why? Because we look at Anthony Edwards as a superstar. That's why. So we're not going to sit up here and put him in the superstar frame.
Anthony Edwards is the face of the league. That's been his talk. Two different conversations. Anthony Edwards.
What are you? Is that? What? Bro, both of these combos is terrible. A, you would have to be a superstar to be the face of the league. You're telling me there's a nigga that's not a superstar that's going to be the face of the league? That makes no sense. So that they're damn near synonymous. But also, this idea that like just because we don't hold him to the same standard because they have 2 different responsibilities. Ant's responsibility is supposed to be score first. So if he doesn't score as many points as we believe he's supposed to, then he's going to be held to that accountability. If Tyreese Haliburton out there didn't pass the ball and he only had 2 assists, then he will be held accountable because his responsibility is to pass the ball and get everybody going. They have different responsibilities. That's why. Regardless of how much what's his name is on the ball, he's still going to be on the ball to get the to score, not to pass.
Is arguably the best player in the league in the face of the NBA. We've never said that about Haliburton. These 2 different positions. I said as a point guard that's growing in this league, the position that's starting to be extinct because there's not a lot of point guards no more. There's not a lot of point guards averaging.
What is Trae Young?
Trae Young is a good player. He's a good player. He's a good player in this league. He's a really good player.
All right.
What
To
did
be
he have?
continued.
He was shooting 3-point. He wasn't a point guard. He just started passing the ball. He was shooting 40 point. He was shooting 40 points.
I know you ain't.
Bro, that shit is just as bad as hearing it for the first time, bro. Saying that Trae Young just started passing, he was shooting threes. Bro, what the are you talking about, bro? What is you talking about, bro? I want y'all to understand. To say that Trae Young just started passing the ball, this year he led the league in assists. Last year, 11. The year before that, 10. The year before that, 10. The year before that, 9, 9, and 8. He has not had a season where he's averaged less than 8 assists. And after his rookie season, it's been 9 or more. How many more assists do you think he needs to average? Like, what are we talking about? Oh, man.
ignoring Molly.
Work with me.
Because I know you ain't ignoring Molly.
Thank you,
Molly sitting right next to you, ignoring Molly. What's wrong with
Oh, that's all it was. That's just a bad take. It wasn't nothing too deep.
And the Brooklyn Nets are not fully loaded. And don't get me wrong, I can't dismiss the Clippers, can't dismiss Kawhi and Paul George and what they have the potential to bring. We got to respect that. And Ty Lue knows what he's doing as a coach. Can't dismiss them. But I expect them to beat the Clippers. I expect them to beat Phoenix or Denver, and it's going to be Phoenix, in my opinion, in the conference finals. There's a game 7 that would be in Utah. I think Utah goes to the finals. And if the Brooklyn Nets are not fully loaded, I can't summarily dismiss Utah. I think it would take James Harden, Kyrie, and KD to knock off the Utah Jazz. That's how formidable I think they are.
I think that this is fascinating. Let me pick up on that thought for a minute there, because I think a lot of NBA fans don't see a ton of Utah for any number of obvious reasons.
Yes.
He's 6'1".
Who, Donovan?
Yeah.
4. 6'3", 6'3 and a half, 6'4", yeah.
What?
He's not 6'4".
What?
Oh my God, bro. Oh my God. Okay, let me just hear what this nigga has to say.
He's bigger than 6'1".
Is he
That's a lie.
6'3"?
That's a lie. He is not 6'1".
Okay, fair enough.
That's right.
I think he's listed smaller, and he
Right.
kind of looks a little smaller sometimes. I had Mike Fratello on
Well,
the
I'm
radio.
6'1". When I was standing next to him, he looked bigger than 6'1".
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, go ahead.
Either way, the point of it is this. You think he's ready to be, right now, the best player on an NBA championship team?
I think he's already the best player probably in the playoffs right now. Can somebody tell me differently? In the 6 games that Donovan...
Brother, Jokic was still in the fucking playoffs at this point. Giannis was still in the playoffs. Kawhi was still in the playoffs. Oh, my days. KD was still in the playoffs. Oh, my God.
Mitchell play, can we definitively say we've seen somebody better than him? I mean, you could throw KD in the equation because he's been lethal, even though he didn't shoot that well from the field last night. But when I look at Donovan Mitchell, who's stopping him? Listen, he struggled a little bit in the first half of game 1 against Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, with a team that has the Reggie Jacksons, the Patrick Beverleys of the world, and others. This man came out and dropped 32 in the second half. Last night, 10 points in the first 3 minutes of the game. He finishes with 37. He's coming. Everyone knows he's coming. You know he's the number 1 option, and there's absolutely positively nothing you seem to be able to do about it.
What the? Okay.
And twist his ankle. That's about it. There's nothing else that we have seen that has been able to stop Donovan Mitchell. Then when we take that into account, understand the guys around him. Jordan Clarkson comes off the bench, gives you buckets, 24 last night. What does he do? He enables you to spell for Donovan Mitchell so he can get his rest. Royce O'Neal, a big-time perimeter defender. Rudy Gobert, the reigning defensive player of the year right now on the interior. So he has help around him with shooters like Bogdanovich and Engel and other guys. But in the end, everybody knows when it's time, even though last night there were other people that stepped up and did what they did, because they can do that. When it's time, the Utah Jazz go like this. Here you go. Could you take us there? And that's what he does. And to me, that's what it's all about. When you separate the superstars from everybody else, it's when everyone knows who's going to do something, when they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, and you still can't stop them. That is Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. He is the real deal. And the only part about it, and I'm getting teary-eyed and emotional right now, because that damn Phil Jackson was running the New York Knicks. I was on New York radio. Go look at the tapes. Nobody was talking about. I said Donovan Mitchell out of Louisville. And I didn't see this in Louisville. I said, Donovan Mitchell, the hell with it. And somehow, Frank Ntilikina is who that damn Phil Jackson brought to the Knicks. No wonder we can't find Phil Jackson. No wonder we can't find him. No, that's the problem. Donovan Mitchell could have been in New York. Could you imagine if he was in New York?
I mean, he scored. You're correct.
So he didn't say. Whoever were making these titles, holy what type of clickbait?
2,000.
Yeah, Jesus. But still, labeling him a superstar. So again, it's just ridiculous. What happened?
Someone said I think you skipped it. I think you did skip.
Oh, I skipped it? Let me see.
Star. This brother is big time. And if he gets in the finals, Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. Make no mistake about it. Averaging like 41 in this series on 52% shooting, averaging over 32 a game for the postseason, undefeated with him in the starting lineup because he missed game 1 against the Memphis Grizzlies, dropped 50 plus last year a couple of times against the Denver Nuggets in the first round. Donovan Mitchell is D-Wade 2.0. Donovan Mitchell is a closer. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. Donovan Mitchell is outplaying both Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, not one or the other, both of them. And the brother's 24. Got a J, got a handle, got an NBA body, is strong, can finish at the basket, can take it to the hole, can create his own shot, can hit free throws. There's nothing that this brother cannot do. In Utah, already, I want to hear about Karl Malone. I want to hear about John Stockton. That's the best player in the history of the Jazz organization right there. I just said it, and I ain't stuttering.
Oh my fucking God. So you've been jumping out the window with these claims for literally the last 5-7 years. And now all of a sudden it's this is what we would be talking about, bro. So when it comes to Hallie, you're being reserved, but you deeming Donovan Mitchell the greatest Utah Jazz ever?
He was in his 4th season.
4th season. Second, I think it was his second, maybe third postseason appearance. I want you all to know, Donovan Mitchell, after that game, you know what he decided to, all praise is Donovan Mitchell, but this is why you just don't jump out the window this soon. He averaged 32 points on 37% shooting from the fucking field. If he wasn't making a three, because he was hitting his threes, he was shooting 28% on his twos, bro. No. Yeah, the Jazz lost 4 straight. At the time in which they were having this, he said that he was outplaying Giannis. Giannis was putting up 25, 14, and 4 with a steal and a block. Bro, you jump out the window and you just say a whole bunch of other stuff. Yo, depressed. I can't go through everything, but yeah, there's just plenty.
Mavericks was
Bro, he did it again? And again, I want to be clear. I had no problem with doing this when you're trying to prop up who's going to be the next best, right? I get that, and that's all a part of it. But brother, you jump out the window with saying nut shit. Stephen A. Donovan Mitchell is the Jazz most talented player in history. In history.
When did he say this?
April 27, 2022. Bro. And again, trust me when I say this is a part of the push that they get. It's not the same, bro. It's not the same. Stephen A. Smith does not give the same push to the players. He just doesn't. Giannis at this time is existing. Jokic at this time is existing.
Yo, do you know what he was doing when Stephen A. said this?
What was he doing? I know.
Okay, so up until this was after Game 5, and all right, so up until this point in the series, Donovan Mitchell that series was averaging 26, 4, and 5, shooting 38% from the field, 19 from 3, and in Game 5 he was 4 for 15 with 9 points.
God, you're telling Stephen A! You just sat there and said Hallie giving you less than 10 points. Now all of a sudden he can't be a superstar. This nigga literally gave you 9, and you came around and said not only he's a superstar, but he's more talented than Karl Malone. We gotta wrap this up. All right, we'll catch y'all later. Stephen A is ridiculous, bro.